All right, stop for a moment. Just pause. Take a deep breath. Now let me ask you something. What if everything you think you know about death is wrong? What if death isn't the end, but the beginning of something far more extraordinary? What if there's a guide, a map, that shows us exactly what happens when we die? I know it sounds like the stuff of myths or movies, but this isn't fiction. This is real. Over 1,000 years ago, Tibetan monks created a sacred text called the Tibetan Book of the Dead. It's not just a book about death, it's a guide for the living. It's a roadmap for navigating the most mysterious and inevitable journey we'll all take. And here's the thing, it doesn't just tell us what happens when we die. It shows us how to live. But let me warn you, once you hear this, you can't unhear it. It might change the way you see everything, life, death, and even yourself. So, are you ready to dive in? Let's go. Let's start with the big question. The one that's haunted humanity for as long as we've been able to think. What happens after we die? Despite all our science, all our technology, we still don't have a definitive answer. We've mapped the stars, split the atom, and sent people to the moon. But when it comes to death, we're still in the dark. And maybe that's why the Tibetan Book of the Dead is so powerful. It dares to answer the unanswerable. It tells us that death isn't the end of consciousness, it's the beginning of a journey. A journey through unseen realms, through states of being that offer the potential for liberation, or rebirth. But here's the twist. This isn't just a guide for the dead, it's a wake-up call for the living. Because the way we live now shapes what happens when we die, and the way we die shapes what comes next. The Tibetan Book of the Dead describes 3 key stages, or bardos, that every soul passes through after death. Think of these bardos as doorways, transitional states where the boundaries between life, death, and rebirth dissolve. But here's the thing. These bardos aren't just for the dead. They're happening all the time, in life, in every moment of change, every moment of uncertainty, and understanding them can transform the way we live. The first bardo is the moment of death itself. Now imagine this. Your final breath slips away, your heartbeat fades, and suddenly you're standing on the edge of everything you've ever known. In front of you is a light, brilliant, all-encompassing, and impossibly pure. This is the clear light, the essence of mind itself. Tibetan wisdom teaches that this light isn't an illusion or a comforting hallucination. It's the truest reality, the ultimate nature of existence. And here's the incredible part. If you can recognize this light as your own true essence, you can achieve liberation in a single instant. Imagine that, breaking free from the endless cycle of life and death, attaining a state of absolute freedom. But this moment is fleeting. For most of us, the light is overwhelming. Instead of recognizing it, we retreat in fear and the journey continues. This brings us to the second bardo, the bardo of visions. Picture this. You're surrounded by breathtaking visions, some peaceful, others terrifying, radiant beings of light, wrathful deities with faces of fire and fury, swirling in a divine dance. But here's the twist. These aren't external forces. They're projections of your own mind. Every fear, every desire, every unresolved emotion you've ever carried laid bare in front of you. The peaceful deities reflect your highest qualities: compassion, wisdom, clarity. The wrathful ones? They're the parts of yourself you've denied or feared. Anger, attachment, envy. Each one is a mirror asking you, will you recognize these as pieces of your own soul, or will you retreat in fear? This stage isn't a punishment, it's an invitation. A chance to confront the raw truth of who you are. To integrate every part of your mind, the light and the shadow. But for those who can't face these visions, the journey grows darker. The mind becomes trapped in its own projections, mistaking them for external threats. And so the cycle continues. Finally, we enter the third bardo, the bardo of rebirth. Imagine this. You're drifting in a formless sea, pulled by an invisible force. Every thought, every emotion, every karmic imprint you've ever carried becomes the guiding force, shaping your next life. This isn't a passive drift. It's an intense, chaotic process of creation. Your consciousness becomes a magnet, pulling in the elements that will define your next existence. Picture this: a swirl of visions, faces, landscapes, entire worlds, each one a potential path for your soul. If you've cultivated kindness, self-awareness, and wisdom, the visions may be bright, inviting, leading you toward a life of opportunity. But if fear, anger, or attachment dominate, the visions take on a darker form, pulling you toward a life of struggle. This isn't a test imposed by some outside force. It's a reflection of your own mind, your karma, your actions, your intentions. They're the architects of your next reality. And here's the profound truth. This process isn't just happening after death. It's happening right now, in every moment of your life. Every choice you make, every thought you hold, is shaping the destiny of your soul. So, what does this mean for us, here now in the middle of our busy, messy lives? It means that life is a preparation for death. And death is a mirror of life. The Tibetan Book of the Dead isn't just a guide for the dying, it's a guide for the living. It challenges us to live with awareness, with purpose, with compassion. To face our fears, to confront our attachments, to see every moment as an opportunity for awakening. Tibetan Buddhism offers practical abilities for this: mindfulness, meditation, compassion practices like Tonglen, breathing in the suffering of others and breathing out love in return. These aren't just spiritual exercises, they're training for the ultimate transition. They help us recognize the clear light of awareness, not just at the moment of death, but in every moment of life. And here's the thing: you don't have to be a monk in a remote monastery to benefit from these teachings. You don't have to wait until you're on your deathbed to start preparing. Every moment is a chance to practice. Every breath is a chance to wake up. Imagine starting each day with the awareness that life is precious, that every moment counts. Imagine seeing every challenge, every loss, every change as a mini bardo, a chance to let go of the old and embrace the new. Imagine living with the same clarity and courage that Tibetan monks bring to the moment of death. This isn't just about preparing for the end. It's about transforming the way we live. It's about breaking free from the fear of death and embracing life with open arms. Because when we stop running from death, we start living fully. So, let me ask you, how would your life change if you embraced death as a teacher? If you saw every moment as an opportunity for awakening? If you lived each day as if it were your last? The Tibetan Book of the Dead invites us to do just that. To face the unknown with courage. To see the transitions of life and death not as endings, but as beginnings. It's a radical, transformative way of living, and it's available to all of us right here, right now. So, what will you do with this knowledge? How will you prepare for the ultimate journey? And how will it change the way you live your life today? Let me know in the comments below. Together, let's explore these mysteries. Let's unlock the wisdom of the bardos, and let's live with the clarity, purpose, and fearlessness that this ancient text inspires. Because in the end, the greatest mystery of death isn't about what happens after, it's about how it teaches us to live.